everybody, and welcome back to Franchise Vibes. I'm excited for our guest today. Today, the vibes that we're on is Impact Vibes, a franchise with purpose. So I know that word, purpose, and passion is something that speaks to a lot of my audience. So I'm happy to invite Rosa over to our channel today. Rosa from Caring Transitions. Please, Rosa, tell us a little more about yourself and your journey to Caring Transitions.
Oh, Tamika, thank you so much for inviting me today to be part of the channel and share a little bit about not just about myself, but also about this fantastic brand. So I'm Rosa Matos. I'm one of the franchise development directors here at Caring Transitions, also responsible for broker relations. So for me, it was franchising, similar to a lot of folks, they stumble into franchising. Right?
Mm.
You think franchising is going to be a concept that it's only the fast food places, right? Or the hotel chains. My journey from after high school, I was brought up, my family were from Colombia in South America. So my dad's an engineer, my mom's a teacher. Education was very important. It was you go to college, right? You get a job and you work there the rest of your life. So that was on that trajectory. I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to help people. And so I was going down that route. I wanted to be a doctor. Okay. Unfortunately, I fell into a situation as a medical assistant that I saw firsthand what the day-to-day was like, and I became disenchanted with medicine. It's not always what we see on TV. It's not always what we hear. So I said, you know what? I'm in northern New Jersey. I speak Spanish. I'm a bilingual, I'm bilingual. Bilingual Spanish or science teachers are needed. I'm going to go down that route. So I did. And then I had a friend that was working at a tutoring business. She said, well, why don't you work here? As you get your experience in that way, you learn how to work with the children. So I applied, but what she didn't know is that you had to have a degree already in order to work with the kids. But I guess they liked me when I interviewed and they offered me a role at their corporate headquarters. And that's when I first heard about franchising really for any sort of business. It was a tutoring franchise. So I grew there, right? And I realized, Tamika, that my role really was making a difference. I was in the business of changing lives, helping folks go from what an idea that they have as a business to something where they can see, wow, I can really do this. I have a franchise that can support me. So throughout the pandemic, I grew in the role and fulfilling, right? What I ultimately want to do with the career was to make a difference. Caring Transitions came along 8 years into that career at tutoring business. And it was something that I guess it was the right place at the right time where I was in my career and in my personal life. What Caring Transitions is, right? It's the nation's largest and most trusted provider of senior relocation services, right? Then they help them with the resale of their household goods. When I started a tutoring franchise, I was single, right? There were no little kids in my life. My sister was single as well. And it was something where it made sense, right? Understanding children. And then my sister had a couple of kids. It was a great spot. But now, as I got older, I live 5 minutes from home. But when my parents need something, I know I'm the first call. Not always able to help out. And I saw the need in this business, which is being able to help seniors, help families transitions when they're having, parents are moving out, downsizing, liquidating, all those things that go into it. So Caring Transition is able to fulfill that for seniors and their families, right? Being the nation's largest and most trusted provider of those services, giving people back time and peace of mind. So what we're able to do, right, is go into a senior's house, help them pick out what they're going to take with them. We're able to pack them up and move them. When we get to the new place, we get them all settled in. Pictures up on the wall like they were at their house. We put the clothes away, we put the dishes away, right? Once they're all settled in, we go back to the house, family comes, they pick out what's important to them. Then we can take that step of doing either the in-house estate sale or listing the items for sale on our online auction website, right? It's called CT Bids. Okay, once that wraps up, it's just a matter of what's left. If it has value, we donate it. If it doesn't have value, we can toss it. The goal is to leave the house in a broom swept fashion. This way, the family can reach out to the realtor that they hired. They can come in, sage it, do the walkthrough, and get that house sold, right? And we've been able to do this for we'll be in April, celebrating 20 years, right? So
Nice.
it's a brand that definitely has grown. So to answer your question, Tamika, as far as, what led me to carrying transitions in my journey here, it's that making a difference. Right? Everything that I align myself with, that's what I look to achieve. And with carrying transitions, I'm not only making a difference in the lives of the franchisees, but also in the community.
That's amazing. And I really like, for me, like that unique space within senior because I
Mhm.
do run across a lot of people that may have an interest in the senior industry in the senior space, but it's usually would be maybe home health or maybe the what do they call it, the home see they don't have to
Like the
edit this.
placement, we hear that a lot as
Yeah,
well.
like home placement or even in the facilities itself.
Hmm.
But this is more so of a space that is, again, it's really needed, but you wouldn't automatically think about that when it comes to that specific business, especially a franchise. So
Hmm.
tell us a little bit more about that piece of it, the unique space within senior care, and what problem that the brand was created to solve.
Hmm. So, Tamika, I'm glad you identified that we are in a unique space. We're really like blazing the trail when it comes to this industry because we are part of the senior industry, but we are in a niche of our own, which is that senior move management, the liquidation of the household goods, the cleaning out of the house. And we'll go back to our history. When we first got started, we're not a brand that had a Mr. and Mrs. Carrying Transitions. This wasn't a mom and pop, right, business that then grew into franchising. We identified a need through a sister brand that we had at the time.
Mhm.
We're part of a larger organization called Strategic Franchising. We had a sister brand that was in-home healthcare, right? So the franchisees were being asked to do these sorts of things, right? So we
Mhm.
had lots of smart folks that said, you know what? This is a whole new concept. This is something else that does not exist. So we've been able to build the systems, the processes, put the people in place to teach franchisees how to run the business. We have a great national market. We have over 400 territories, right? Run by about 300 franchisees. So that ability to scale is also there. So we were able to meet our clients where their needs are. The example I gave before, right? It's someone that needs all three services, but that's not always the case. So that, yeah, that's Mrs. Jones, I call her, right? She needs all three services. She's moving. She needs things sold. She needs the house cleaned out. But it could also be the family where grandpa passed away, right? 3, 4 years ago. Now grandma passes away. Okay? And so the family needs support. Maybe we'll start with them just on the estate sale or CT bids. Okay? Then you also have families that are aging in place. My parents. My parents said they're not going anywhere. They're going to live in their house forever. However, they've accumulated a lot of things living in a house 30, 40 years,
Oh
right? And
yeah.
so they need to help with that declutter. And I, as the adult child, don't have the time to do something like that, like many adult children. I think the
Mhm.
stat is that about 50% of adult children don't live close to home anymore. So that's what we're able to do. So those are the different things that we have identified and why our brand works, right? We cater to our client. We're that white glove, a la carte, comprehensive solution.
Awesome, awesome. And I always tend to educate as well about also thinking about the industry, but more importantly, that fit. So I always speak to them about, well, let's see what would be the right fit
Mhm.
business for you. So who tends to thrive most as an owner, a franchise owner here? And like as far as their background, whether it's their life experience or is it something else entirely?
Yeah. So when it comes to our ideal candidate, right, or the person, the franchisee, who we are looking for. Now, last year alone, we awarded 75 territories, right? Franchisees from really all over, all different types of professional backgrounds. We had folks that were C-level executives. We had serial entrepreneurs, realtors, right? We had folks from healthcare, veterans, you name it. But the thing that we really look for and our franchisees need to bring to the table is going to be what we call the caring servant's heart, right? That they have that empathy for the community they'll be working with, seniors and their adult children. And the reason is that these folks, right, seniors, they're faced with stress. They're moving, whether by choice or by necessity. They've lived
Mm,
in this house 30, 40, 50 years, right? Now they're going into that new reality. And the stress for the adult children is going to be more about the time. Okay? They can't take every weekend, every holiday, every PTO day to do something like this. Right? So something that takes maybe 9 months for a family to do on average, caring transitions can do it in a couple of weeks. So we're giving back the family that time and that peace of mind. So our ideal candidate understands that. With our support in marketing and operations and technology, we're able to teach them the rest. Part of my role is to really have conversations with prospective franchisees, get to know them, not just what their professional backgrounds are, but what their intentions are of their business. What are their goals, right? Do they have that empathy? Because again, we can teach them the rest. We've been
right.
doing this for a while, so we got a nice playbook for them.
Nice. What do you think are some of the most common misconceptions that people may have about this brand when they first explore it?
Yeah. Well, for us, I think the biggest obstacle is that we are in the senior space, but we are not senior care. Okay. So that's the big one, or that we're not a moving company, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
that we're not just an estate sale company or a clean out company. Yes, we do all those sorts of things. However, what we are is a transitions company, right? Being able to help the client sit down with Mrs. Jones and her kids, find out, why am I here? What's going on? What can I do? And be able to really create that custom project for them. So I think that would be the biggest misconception just from the start, explaining who we are and all the different revenue streams that we have or the different services that they can offer their clients.
Nice, nice. So let's talk about, purpose is definitely important, and
Mhm,
especially in a business such as this. But we also need to find like that balance, right? As far as like building a sustainable business.
mhm,
How does Care Transitions balance heart-led work with strong unit economics?
mhm. So for us, we always say, it's profit with a purpose, right? And that purpose is the driver, right? That franchisees that have the right attitude, right? Because that's really what they can control, their attitude and their actions. So they
Mm-hmm.
come to the table with that, the empathy, that wanting to help seniors. We're going to teach them how to do the rest. So we have support in marketing. We have national marketing campaigns that we do on the digital side as well. We have support for grassroots marketing. So we help introduce them to senior living community managers so that they can market to realtors, they can market to probate attorneys, because these are all folks that have clients for them, right? Realtor can't sell a house that's full of stuff. Average American family has about 3,000 items, right? So this way we can introduce them to the realtors. They start building those relationships, and that helps them again to grow their business, start the top of the funnel for them. We have support in technology, proprietary software. There's two big ones. I mentioned it before. One would be for pricing. It's our caring quote. This is going to help franchisees know how much they're going to charge their clients, right?
Mm-hmm.
During for all three services or just one or two. And then the real big one is CT Bids. It's our proprietary online auction website. It's what allows franchisees to easily post estate sales online. So that's how they're able to sell the household goods. We mentioned before, as far as the senior space. Right now, we're the leaders. Okay, when it comes to move management and the things that we do transitions, that may not always be the case. We are realistic, right? We know
Mm-hmm.
that may not always be the case, but CT Bids really helps us set ourselves apart for any competitors that might arise. It didn't start back in 2006 when we first got started. It started a little bit over 10 years ago. Really picked up momentum during the pandemic, and it hasn't stopped. We sell all sorts of things, typical household goods like the chairs and the tables and the lamps. We also sell cars. We sell boats, farm equipment, ski equipment, and then the collectibles. Okay, the artwork, the jewelry, baseball cards, coins. Right. So because of all these different things, it really has grown also our national audience. We have
Mm.
close to 1 million registered users at this point. So those,
Wow.
yeah, so it really it brings in revenue for franchisees. Mm.
That's amazing.
And of course, it's our training as well, right? So they're in franchise, we always say, or you always hear, you're in business for yourself, but you're not by
By
yourself.
yourself.
So our training is top notch. We have our 10-year term, and during the first year, they're going to have not just one, but two onboarding coaches, folks that are going to be able to help them set up their business and launch their business and are with them throughout that first year. These coaches are fantastic. It's not just people that read a manual and then are telling them what to do, right?
Right.
One of our coaches worked for a franchisee, helped grow that business to over $1 million business. Now she's with the corporate headquarters, and we joke around and say she could never leave.
Well, you're touching on some important things because this is also what I try to educate on and bring my clients through is for them to have that understanding that this is the difference when you are going with a business that is a franchise is you want to look at the level of support. You
Mhm,
mentioned proprietary systems, you mentioned the training, you mentioned coaching, which are
mhm.
very, very key things that you want in a franchise brand. So that's amazing that you offer all of that as well. So, can you tell us or give us a story or a moment that maybe you've witnessed that really confirmed for you that this franchise changes lives?
Oh, Tamika, I can name several. I'm going to provide you with two. So
Okay.
I've been with Caring Transitions almost 2 years now. So I've awarded my good share of franchisees, and I always like to give them a call, right? A few months after training, and I don't ask them, tell me a success story. I just say, hey, tell me a success story. I know they're going to have it, right? And that's one of my favorite parts of my role because it helps validate what I do. Right. I
Mm-hmm.
want to make a difference. And these are folks that are working with those families. So I was speaking with a couple from North Carolina, and I said, tell me a success story. She said, well, Rosa, we're just getting ready. We have a project that's coming up, and it's elderly women, and she loves on TV shopping, like QVC, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she collected all these things, and she has all these, but she's been through some things in her life, and she's interviewed a lot of companies, namely moving companies. She said, we're number, 20 on the list of some of companies that she interviewed. And when I left, she signed on with us. I said, well, why? How? So, well, we listened. It was that we listened to her, the things that she's gone through, what she needs, how precious the items are for her, and that she knows that we are going to take care of her treasures. You know, that's Caring Transitions. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's that. When she told me those things, it really warms my heart because this woman here has to move, has interviewed so many companies, and it's not till we came along and really are going to take care of her things. And we take careful consideration. We also learn about the items also, so that when the items do sell, folks know where the items are coming from. Right? They know that it's from a senior or a family in transition. If it has a story behind it, that legacy continues. So that helps seniors, right? Then, when it comes to CT bids, also we sell all sorts of things. This one's more recent, actually. A franchisee shared this with me. She had put up a purse for sale on CT bids or was getting ready to list it. It wasn't a name brand purse. It was just a regular old purse. But they said, you know what? Let's look inside it. Okay? So they opened up all the little pockets and they found a watch. And it wasn't a regular watch in this regular purse. It was a Cartier watch in this purse. You know how
Oh,
much those are worth. Who do you
wow.
think ended up with that watch?
Oh
Went
my
right back to
God.
the family, right? Went
Wow.
right back to the family because that's who we are. When you think of seniors, seniors like to hide things, money, jewelry, etc. And so the fact that we're able to see that and it's anything that we find that's going to go right back to the family, that really warms my heart.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, just thinking about what's on horizon
Mhm.
for this year, or just thinking about advice for people who are looking to own franchises in 2026. What advice would you give someone looking for a franchise that's going to align both with purpose and the profitability?
Mhm. My best advice would be, yes, to do your research. But when you find that one, stop, stop. Because a lot of times folks say, well, what if there's something better?
Hmm.
Right? And then they continue, we go down the wormhole, right? The easiest thing for us is also to go back to what we know. So if you're stuck in that corporate role or, in your 9 to 5, my best advice is take that, make that decision for yourself, right? In 2026, because if it didn't change in 2025, what's going to change in 2026? Take control, take that next step for yourself. The easiest thing would be to go to another 9 to 5. Whereas in franchising, you're going to be your own boss. And you align yourself with the brand like Caring Transitions that offers that support, right? So that again, you're not in business by yourself, but you are the boss. Okay? And don't think that you'll never be able to take a vacation. You will.
Nice, nice. So I do have that does tie into my wrap up question.
Okay.
So as we wrap up, what would you say then is the best advice that you give prospective franchise owners over and over again? Besides, of course, that they should be reaching out to Tamika to make sure that they your
Absolutely. No, definitely. If you, and I'll say this to the audience, if you're interested in learning more about carrying transitions, Tamika has all my contact information. So definitely reach out to her so that we can meet. But the advice I would give to folks looking into franchising, it's look into a franchise that has that longevity, that playbook, right? That's why folks that have that loyalty, that you'll be able to speak with franchisees and be able to learn about them, but also in the representatives that are representing the brand, the folks in my shoes. They are your educators, right? If you get that gut feeling that someone's trying to sell you on a brand, definitely run the other way because our role is to help educate you about what the brand is all about, the support systems, etc. And then you make that choice. And like I said before, once you find the one that checks off the majority of the boxes, because unfortunately I've seen it, they're not always going to check off all of the boxes. Same thing happens when we find our loved one, right? Our significant other. We don't always get 100%.
That's funny. But it's so true. But no, but this was great, and I would just like to say I love that I have you on Franchise Vibes this year, because we have not touched on this unique space within the senior space. So thank you so much again, Rosa, for joining us today on Franchise Vibes. And as I always say, please reach out to Precision Franchise if you want to learn more about Caring Transition or any of the other brands that we have had on. We do have a franchise fit form to do just that, to make sure that we are showing you businesses that's going to be the best fit, not only for you, but I mean, businesses such as Caring Transitions, they want to make sure that you're the right fit for them as well as you learned in this episode. So thanks again, and until the next time, see you later, guys. Bye.